What's going down, everybody? It's your boy, That Guy Mile High, tuning back in for another reaction. This time we got Texas cops caught on their own dash cams conspiring against the Uber driver. It's hard enough to be an Uber driver or a Lyft driver, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the Ubers and Lyft drivers, you know what I mean? Because that's just like a very up close and personal version of like customer service, in my opinion. I've driven Lyft. It's not that great. It can be fun. There could be moments and some things that happen. You're like, whoa, that would have never happened had I not did Lyft or Uber. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might meet somebody that you would have never had the opportunity to meet because of, you know, the circumstances. But at the end of the day, that it sucks. It's not the greatest thing to do. You know what I'm saying? I feel for all those out there who, you know, choose to use DoorDash or Uber, Lyft, you know, Grubhub, any of those like delivery services, whether you're delivering people or food. And that sounds weird, people, but I mean, straight up, you know what I'm saying? Like Uber and DoorDash, you delivering people from one area to another area. You know what I'm saying? But like any of those delivery jobs, I feel for you. You know what I'm saying? They're not the greatest. But anyways, let's give a big shout out to all the members, and then let's jump into this video and see what's going down. Carrie, Mr. Pay It Forward, Happy Chick, Epic Service, Lynn Willow, Jamal, Jeffrey's YouTube, Hologirl, Taylor, Funny Farm, Jordan, Christy, Hollaboy, Marla, Diesel, Nick, Creatively Insane, Nicole, Aaron, Mama Dukes, Misty Summers, Robin Lynn, Amy Jane Doe, Liz, Nugget, My Hood Life, and Gary Willis. I know there's a couple names that there's like one or two names that I'm pretty sure we're missing out of this list. I can't remember off the top of my dome what those names are, but I do think we are missing a couple people. Marie, where'd Marie go? We had, because it used to go Marla Marie. There was a Marie. Where did she go? Okay, so shout out to Marla or to Marie as well, as she was a member. And I only remember because I've said this list so many times that you start to remember like the easy, you know, the names that are easy to remember anyways. And that was one of them. But shout out to her and anyone else who's, you know, was a member and is no longer a member at the moment. You know, we'd love to have you back. But if anything, just hit that bell notification, hit that subscribe button, and it's free $99 and it helps us hit 100K. We're trying to hit it. We're trying to get a plaque. Anyways, let's do this, man. Let's jump into this and see what's going down. Let's go.
Viewer discretion is advised.
There's your warning right there. You know what I'm saying? There's your warning. And let's give a big shout out to Don Andre Investigations as well for this this video. Let's go.
Boom, perfect timing.
Boom, perfect timing. Wall of shame. This says Fort Worth Police Department Officer Chadwick Hughes, victim Ryan Vining. During the routine traffic stop, Officer Chadwick Hughes and Officer C. Delgado, or however you say, Delgado, or however you say old boy his name, were caught on their own in-car video and audio recording system conspiring against the Uber driver by the name of Ryan Vining. Let's go. Chadwick Hughes was on the force for 3 years, so he's no longer on the force now. Good. Good. Oh, we can't find, they don't have a picture of that guy? The other dude that was helping? How? I mean, isn't that public information, bro? He's a police officer. The fact that we have his badge number and everything, like, doesn't that mean that's public?
Uber driver Ryan Vining had picked up 2 passengers and was on his way to their drop-off location. Mr. Vining explained to me that the roads that night were completely empty and that he noticed that he was approaching a traffic light that was red. As he slows down to a complete stop, he crosses and goes beyond the solid white line of the traffic light. Once the light turns green, Mr. Vining continued on his way down the road. Officer Chadwick Hughes and Officer Delgadillo of the Fort Worth Police Department in Texas would follow Mr. Vining in their patrol car for several seconds before finally pulling him over.
For what, though?
I don't remember the specific day. I think they've got it time stamped on the video, but I think it was January 2019, and this was wee hours of the morning, like somewhere between 1 and 3 o'clock in the morning, which is when I usually like to drive then, because the roads are wide open and everything's kind of clear. And I picked up a couple passengers, a guy and a girl, and I was just taking them home. And tell me if this sounds familiar. It's 2 in the morning, no one's on the road. You see a red light ahead of you. You can clearly see there's no cars around, nothing's going on, and so you're going to slow down. Now, hopefully the light turns green before you get there, right? You don't want to have to stop and then start again, but it doesn't happen. But you're slowing down nice and smooth. You see that the other lane is turning yellow. Obviously yours is about to turn green, but you're going slow. You don't want to come to a complete stop if you don't have to. And so in that process, you go a little bit past the white line, like barely crawling, but it turns green and you go. All right. So then the cops pull me over.
Which I was trying to figure out what the deal was anyway.
3100 South Riverside.
During my investigation, I was able to get in contact with the
people.
Fort Worth Police Department Internal Affairs Unit. I wanted to know which officer was which in the dash cam video. I spoke with Detective Chadwick Scroggins, and he was kind enough to assist me by sending me this email. It reads, the involved officers are Officer Delgadillo and Officer Hughes. Officer Delgadillo is the first officer that approaches the driver's side in the video, and Officer Hughes is on the passenger side. The officers switch position on the second approach. So please keep this in mind when you are viewing the dashcam video.
So the cop came, I provided all my information, insurance, license, was very polite, yes, sir, no, sir, not hostile, aggressive, or anything like that. And when he asked my passengers for their ID, I stated, and of course, when you're standing up to police, you'll get a little bit nervous no matter how much you prepare. Like, I said, they don't have to provide that if they don't want to. That's it. And he was like, what? Okay. He was taken aback that I stood up to him, but he was basically like, okay, he took my information. They didn't collect their ID, and then they went back. And that's when you can see on the video in the squad car, their conversation, which I didn't know any of this at the time.
I gotta see this.
Oh yeah, we're gonna load this guy up tickets.
What? Oh, so it wasn't even like they got back and fucking had a conversation about what just happened. It was just they got back, looked at each other, and was like, oh yeah, he getting like 900 tickets, dog. We gonna give him as many as we can get him. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? What actually did that, bro? That is...
Wow. Yeah, you're with Mr. I know everything. To ask his passengers? We can ask all we want. They don't have to give us anything.
Right.
And I'd already looked up, like, what do I do if I have passengers and a cop pulls me over? Like, what's the law? Can the cops mess with my passengers? Can they get ID? And the answer I got was that they're allowed to ask the passengers for their ID, but the passengers don't have to provide it if they don't want to. And so I'm like, okay. And so I decided in advance, if I ever got pulled over, then I would let them know they don't have to provide it if they don't want to, but it's their decision. If they want to, that's up to them. But most people don't know their rights, and if the cops come knocking, they're just gonna be like, here, take all my info.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That is hella true. Because I know someone like me, for instance, like I don't be wanting to have no cop problems. Even though in situations where I've been pulled over and I've been the passenger, I've never really been ID'd. They just kind of like what's your first name? Jacob, and then they kind of just handle the business and deal with the traffic stop. But I can see, cops make me nervous. You know what I'm saying? Cops make me nervous in a mug. You dig? So I can only imagine other people who are just like, I don't want no problems. Hands up. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, you know what I mean? I can definitely see people just
did either
take
of the
it all.
passengers say
Here's my
anything to you?
social.
I said no. And then he cut you off? Mm-hmm. Because you don't have to provide you information. So technically, wouldn't that be interfering? Nah, I can stretch on that. It just costs them money. Make sure the vehicle's good. Make sure they have no obstruction lights.
Wow.
He didn't stop. Yeah, he didn't stop for that limit line. Check him in the portal.
Yeah, it's over. Nothing.
Was he wearing a seatbelt?
Yeah, I think so.
Were they wearing their seatbelts?
Oh, I shouldn't.
Because if they weren't, then that's our PC to talk to him.
Wow.
I wish I'd known he was going to be that. I almost thought he was at Uber.
Yeah.
When they were in the backseat, I was like, they were actually the most responsible gate room people I've ever seen.
That's yield right
Bruh.
away. Pedestrian. What's about improper passing?
What?
Driving across median.
What?
I want the steak.
Oh, we gotta check to see if he has a front license plate.
Bruh, holy shit, buddy, is for real just like, what can I, front license plate? Is his tent too dark? Does this motherfucker's, does it leak oil? Does he have enough gas in it? Does his blinkers work? Do all his stop lights work and shit? You know what I'm saying? His brake lights, he got all his front headlights is on, right? Does his floodlights work? Does he have floodlights? You know what I'm saying? I know he don't need them right now, but do they work? Like, what are you talking about,
Cutting
bro?
across property. Crossing double white line.
What?
No, we'll check see if he has a front license plate. And also, you could ride him from the stop sign.
What stop sign?
Then we gotta go all the way back to that. Alright, when we walk back up there, you want to check his license plate? Let me see what the code is so I can just add it if that's what it is.
Huh?
Let me see what the code is so I can just have it ready to go. So it's no front license plate. Where would that be at?
I think it's on the back page.
Bruh. These cops are
No
creepy
front
as
license
fuck,
plate.
bro.
07002. So let me know if he has it.
His ID.
Yeah, they're switching now.
You know, he gives me a ticket for running the red light, and it's like, okay, you know, I mean, technically, yeah, you know, I'm a little past the line.
I mean, but not enough for that to be, not enough for him to pull you over, though. Not enough for him to for real give you a ticket after he figured out that you're the Uber driver getting people home. It's 2:00 in the morning. Like, what are you, bruh? These cops are sick, bro. These are the cops that people be like,
Do you have a good phone number?
these are the reason that people hate cops, bro. These are the cops right here that just give cops a bad name in general because of the shit like this, bro. Like, we catch, like, the shit like this is caught on camera, bro. Like, you can't go back and be like, what? No, we didn't conspire against him. The very first thing y'all said after talking to this nigga the first time y'all got in the car, didn't say shit else, was, we loading him up with tickets. We about to hurt his motherfucker's pockets right now. Like, really?
Alright, what we wrote you for, those white lines at red lights, you're not allowed to go over them while the light's red. We have you on camera going past that white stop line is what it's referred to as.
Okay.
When the light was red. So, that's what this is. This is not an admission of guilt. It's just you saying you're going to take care of it. You have 11 days to contact the court. I need your signature right here.
Yeah, that's.
Do you study law or
foul.
anything like that?
No, sir.
I drive every day, so I know what the
Just so you
fuck's
know,
going
if I
on.
wanted to get the information, I could, because I have PC. They're not wearing seatbelts. You should make sure your passengers are wearing seatbelts.
Yes, sir.
Vehicle.
Get out of
Tell you how to
here.
do your job. Don't tell us how to do ours.
What? Oh, nigga, I didn't tell you how to do your job. I simply provided my guests with information that they may not have had, sir. That wasn't me telling you not to do your job. I didn't tell you couldn't ask them. You can, goddamn, you can ask them. But they needed to know that they didn't have to provide you with the information, sir. That's not me impeding on you doing your job because you got to answer the question all you wanted to. I just wanted to make sure they had all the information to make sure that they could properly respond to you the way that they are supposed to. You dig what I'm saying?
Information on the back of the phone numbers on how you can contact the court and other information. All right?
Okie doke. See, I didn't know what the cops had been talking about in their car, but at that point. But once I got it, I went home and I played it, and I about fell out of my chair. I'm like,
Yeah, I'd be
I'm
suing
going
the
to win
shit out of
this.
them
Like
niggas.
I've got them on so many different angles.
Yeah,
The
I'd
first
be
thing that
suing
came
the
to mind,
fuck
you know,
out
from
of
their
them.
conversation is they're like, you know, let's load this guy up with tickets. It's like,
First
okay.
thing he
They went
said.
back to the car with the full intention, like they were going to go through every possible infraction they could possibly think of and throw everything at me. And in the end, all they could come up with was that one thing that they originally pulled me over for. I'm glad they didn't have anything else. But he said things like, it's like, well, you know, normally, you know, I thought he was an Uber driver when they were in the back seat. It's like, normally Uber drivers are the most, you know, responsible, safest, you know, he kind of trailed off. And it's like, you know, probably wouldn't have given him a ticket if he hadn't said anything. It's like, okay. I'm like, okay, I can work with this. Because the question when it comes to court, you know, the first, before seeing the film, it's like, you know, do you think you probably would have given me a ticket if I hadn't have stood up for my passengers' constitutional rights of privacy? And then it doesn't matter what he says. If he says, you know, yes, I would have, then I'll have him on perjury because I have the film where he says I probably would not have. And if he says no, then the next question is, you know, so it's like, well, didn't you swear an oath to protect the Constitution, and shouldn't you, you know, so if you wouldn't have given me a ticket for the infraction, but you're giving me a ticket because I protected someone's constitutional rights,
right? Oh man,
like, try to get that
contradiction
out there.
all
like,
in
so
itself.
You gave me
He said, bro, I got you on a double contradiction, bro. It don't matter what answer you give me. Oh, I got something for that ass, bro. I got something for that ass.
because I protected someone's constitutional rights, which you swore an oath to do. What they're doing is what I call phishing. They're looking for drunk drivers. So yeah, they're looking for that. But then they might also be looking for expired tags and licenses and whatever else they can kind of get you for. If you want to be cynical, they're just looking for revenue. If you want to be as generous as possible, they're trying to keep the roads safe from, you know, drunk drivers and stuff. And he even said, like, he probably wouldn't have given me a ticket he wouldn't have given me a ticket if I hadn't stood up for my passengers. So that's one of the things they said in the squad car. So it's like, that was one of the things I was going to try to use against him if it went to court. After going for not guilty, then I got a court date. And in the actual court date, they've got a whole room full of people that are all having their trial the same day. And the prosecutor accuses himself to go into the other room, presumably to see all the police officers and all the witnesses that have shown up. He comes back and then he reads off a list. Like, you know, if I read your name off this list, you're free to go. And he goes down the list and I'm one of them. Like, they don't even give you a piece of paper. By the way, your case is dismissed. Like, you don't know, you could have lied. And like, oh, you didn't show up for your court. I don't know. But he read my name off the list, and I'm like, okay, I guess I don't get to have my day in court. And that was it. Just went home.
It is unclear whether or not either officer faced any discipline for their misconduct. However, about 2 years after the Rhine Vining incident, Officer Chadwick Hughes was fired from the Fort Worth, Texas Police Department for racially insensitive social media posts.
Fuck 'em.
New Fort Worth Police Chief Neil Noakes, just sworn in last week, has wasted little time firing 3 officers, including Chadwick Hughes. According to Hughes' termination letter, he wrote a racist message on Facebook, "Black at it," under a photo of a man robbing a convenience store. When someone criticized the comments, Hughes wrote, "Your white shame is showing, my man." When someone wrote to him, "I'm sure your father taught you that typical Blue Lives Matter behavior," Hughes fired back, "At least I know who my father is, unlike most of the black children growing up in America." Hughes worked in the Central Patrol.
Bro, and these, oh my God, I'm glad that police, shout out to the police chief that came in, and within it seemed like the first month of his job, he said, "I'm fucking firing all these assholes. Get out of here." Like,
the area around downtown, and was hired 3 years ago. A fellow officer reported his Facebook comments, and the department started an investigation before anyone in the community had even heard about it. A longtime department critic.
Good. Fuck that dude, bro. That dude's an asshole. There ain't nothing else to say about that guy. You can't even say nothing nice about him, bro. He's just a dickhead. Just the whole dickhead, bro. You can't even be the shaft. You're just a dickhead, bro. No. Oh, man. Anyways, y'all let me know what y'all thought about it down in the comments below. That was some foul shit, bro. Like, that was foul. Like, we do a lot of police videos or whatever where in most cases the cops aren't the ones that necessarily are, like, you know, the ones that are doing like some foul shit, especially with all the cameras, body cams, dash cams, and, you know, the mics now. You know, most cops are very mindful of their actions, bro. Like, they are not sitting there trying to do anything illegal, you know? Like, shit, we've had cops be like, yo, bro, I'm on camera. Hey, if the cameras weren't here, I might be able to help you a little bit more. But the reality is I've got everything that you did on camera, bro, and I have to give you a ticket, or I am on the line. You know, it's my ass on the line, bro. Like, I gotta do what I gotta do. You know what I mean? This was just like blatant, just ignorance of just like, I don't give a fuck. Like, they just didn't care, bro. They was just out there fucking with people. Anyways, y'all let me know what you thought about that in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.